not aware of yoga and the yoga community at all, there are tons of different styles of yoga. So Hatha is one of them. It just means force, and so it sounds hard, and to some people it can be. It just depends on how hard you want to make it. But Hatha is basically holding a posture and breathing through it. So we're learning how to breathe first and foremost, yogic breathing. And then we're going to practice another style of breathing that sounds like kumbaya, but it's kumbhaka. So kumbhaka breathing is where you're pausing and taking kind of an intentional pause in between your inhale and your exhale. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we're going to do some stretching and using our breath as we stretch. So kind of an application toward the end. So I want you to have a space that's wide enough that you can kind of go pretty far to the right and left, because we're going to use our legs from side to side. Your arms will be out at some points. Also, I mentioned this in the little post that I made today, but you can use a blanket. I have a belt. This is like one of those cloth like D-ring belts. A strap, a towel, something we're going to use to hook onto our foot and stretch, or even a rubber band, like an athletic rubber band would work. And then I would encourage you also to grab a blanket or a pillow, and Marzi is on this one right now, but what we'll use it for is while we sit and breathe, you might want to prop up your knees, or another option is to sit on it and raise your tailbone so that your legs can relax all the way down to the ground. So either way, if you have tight hips, that's just a great way to support yourself. So grab those things, come back. If you're watching this recorded, then make sure you pause it, go grab those things and come back. So I'm gonna leave this under my seat for now because that helps me to relax. I do have flexible hips. That's one thing of me that is flexible. So to me, I need them to kind of touch the ground to rest. And so this is a good way for me to do that. I don't like my knees up here. Some people prefer that, up to you. But what we're gonna do is just kind of find a comfortable seated position. You can also cross the ankles, but I find that sometimes those bones get a little heavy on one another. And so you start to focus on what's uncomfortable. So if you're like me in that way, maybe you start one leg and then we switch, that's okay too. So just find a comfortable seated position. And if you need to shake it out, remember you're not stuck. These are just guidelines. If you have better ways or other ways of doing it, please practice your ways and your comfortable ways. In Hatha Yoga today, though, we're going to get a little uncomfortable on purpose to see where our minds go while we're in that stillness of discomfort. So be prepared in that way to kind of push through in some of those areas. Okay, so kind of a warning, but also encouragement that you guys, you can do this, and it's going to be worth it in the end. Okay, so as we sit here in our comfortable position, cross-legged position, let's take our hands out onto our knees with the palms facing up. There are terms for all of these things you might hear as you listen to other yogis practice. I don't use all of those terms just because it kind of gets in the way of what I'm trying to say. So forgive me for not always using Sanskrit. But here we are with our palms facing up. We're going to relax the shoulders down away from the ears. We're going to sit nice and tall through our center, so you want your side body to be long, and you want to feel some weight in your tailbone. So even if you are seated up like this, making sure you are kind of rocking backwards and not leaning forward, okay? If you have your legs supported, it would be a little easier for you. And if you're comfortable with this, let's just slowly close the eyes. And today I really want you to listen more than watch. If you need to open your eyes to see me, that's fine. I completely understand. But this is more of just like a taking it in and feeling it for yourself. So I'll try to give a lot of verbal cues. I just want you to sense what's going on in your own body. So as we sit here, I want you to recognize your breath. And kind of just another rule of thumb, if I haven't told you to move on from the previous thing, you're just still continuing to do the last thing I told you to do until we move on. Sometimes I know you have this silence and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Just whatever the last thing was, we're going to continue doing that. So close the eyes, you're focusing on your breath. You're not changing anything about how you're breathing right now. This is all just noticing. Notice how you feel, if you feel tightness, if you notice off the bat any sore spots, if you need to adjust, or you go, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to sit here for very long, because we are gonna take several rounds of breath in this position. So making sure you are completely comfortable here is going to be important. All right, now for our prana breath. Prana breath is like a relaxation breath. We use it in pranayama, if you've heard of that, at the end usually. We're going to practice that in the beginning though, and really all it is just slowing down that breath and counting and making it even. So our in breath is even with our out breath. So that's what I want you to work on. Just kind of notice if you can count how long it takes you to breathe in. Notice how long you can take it to breathe out or exhale, and you're trying to get that to match the inhale. So if you counted in 4 breaths for your inhale, or 4 counts, then count 4 counts for your out breath. I hope that all made sense. It was a lot of jumbled up words. Even amount of in-breath time as out-breath time. So give that a try. Now we are breathing in and out through the nose. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, let's at least keep them downcast, if not closed. Focusing on the air coming in and out through the nose. Slow and controlled. Now on these next 2, I want you to focus on the belly. So you might even place your hands here on your stomach. And as you inhale, the belly is going to expand outward. So give it room as you inhale. And as you exhale, it contracts inward. So you're starting to actually use some muscle here to squeeze the air out. We're not making the breath go any faster. It's still slow and controlled, but we're just using some extra help there. So let's try that a few rounds. Now, as you'll notice, as you start to use your abdomen and your internal abdominal muscles, those pelvic floor muscles, transverse abdominal muscles, there's a bunch of layers of abs. As you start to use those muscles, it can actually create some warmth in the body. So notice that. Let's go through about 3 more rounds of this, just trying to practice lengthening the breath as long as you can. And remember, this is not about taking in more oxygen necessarily. It's really just about controlling how quickly you get the air in and how quickly you let the air out. So let's do that a few times. Keep that in mind. Don't rush. Okay, hopefully that's going well. You can flutter your eyes open nice and slow here. And if you need to change positions, now might be a good time, because we're going to change what we're practicing. So still with that prana style breath of the even counts in and out, but now we're going to come to that Hatha style, where we're going to actually pause in between our in-breath and our out-breath. So let's just for the sake of trying it one time, I want you just to breathe in that long, slow breath. And notice that your chest is expanding, your belly is expanding, and I want you to hold it. So we're going to count 1, 2, and then slowly let the air out. When you get all the air out, you're holding 1, 2, and then breathing in again. And so we naturally pause our breath all the time, but this is an intentional pause. So I want you to try it a few times. It's going to be hard for me to talk and breathe at the same time, but I'll give you an example of what that might sound like and kind of what it looks like. If you want to close your eyes, it's totally fine as well. You can just listen to me. But I'm just going to breathe in slowly. make sense? So I just inhaled, hold it, exhale, hold it. Now I want you to try that a few times, and as you work through that, I'm going to keep talking a little bit. I don't want to make you anxious, but what I want you to do is first, as you start going through this, you might notice, hey, I can take a little more air in each time, or I can take it a little bit slower each time. You might notice that. Another thing I want you to begin to notice as you go through a few consecutive breaths like this is that you can hold it maybe just a little bit longer. So as you practice this style of breathing, you might be able to hold a little bit longer, maybe 3 or 4 counts. So see if you can lengthen your hold. And I want you to go ahead and do that now. Let's try it a couple more times together. And as you continue practicing, another thing I want to bring to your attention is how you feel in the stillness. So something I noticed about myself when I first started practicing this style of breathing is that I got really panicky on the out breath, especially as I was holding with no oxygen. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get another breath, as if I was actually underwater. When after I talked myself out of that panicky state, I realized I can breathe in anytime I want to. I'm just choosing not to. So this is training for any of us who have anxiety or tend to get panicky. If you can focus on how much control you do have, you are able to control your breath and you are able to control your behavior. And that's just about all you can control in life. So this is a fantastic example of how to apply your breath practice in your daily life. And if you need to at any point during your day, just stop and remember, I can breathe in and hold it, then I can breathe out and hold it, and there's no reason to panic because you're in complete control over your breath and your behavior. Okay, so let's practice that, bringing stillness into the mind, blocking out any distraction that might be around you or outside these 4 walls, or even things you have to do later, things maybe you should have done better. Any should have, could have, would have, or could be, would be, should be, all of that stuff we're pushing to the side. Bring your thoughts right here to your breath. I want you to go through that stillness practice. Let's go 3 more times through that breath count. Long, slow inhale. Pause if you can for 3, 2, 1. Long, slow exhale. Pause at the end for 3, 2, 1, and then slowly inhale again. See how controlled you are. Bring stillness to the body and the mind. And finish up that last one. All right, guys, I hope that helps you in your daily life and your daily practice. We're going to apply some of those things right now, that prana breath, the long flowing breath that goes kind of seamless from one thing to another. We're going to apply that now. And what I want you to do is get into a kneeling position. So if you have trouble with your knees, this is where your blanket or pillow or even a mat is going to come in handy. If not, you are just sitting back onto your heels. So, sorry Mars, I'm sorry girlie, scared it up. Sitting back on your heels with your toes pointed away can stretch the tops of your feet a little bit. So if you tend to have tight ankles, you might only be able to hang out here for a few rounds of this stretch. That's totally fine. So as long as you can stay here, let's do it. But what we're going to do here is practice our breath in. So let's take a big deep breath in. Inhale. Bring it through heart center. Do that again. Inhale. So that's a flowing style breath. But now we're going to twist and hold. And as you hold, you're taking that hand to the outside of the knee. The other hand goes behind and you're on fingertips here. And we're gonna hold in this breath. This is where the Hatha comes in. So you're holding. Exhale, twist maybe a little deeper. And twisting deeper. Good. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale to the other side. So all we're doing every time we exhale is trying to get a little deeper into our twist. Tiptoe the fingertips around as you exhale. And again, if you get a little uncomfortable here, just feel free to sit up for a second, sit back down, and we'll get right back into that twist. Very nice. Coming back to center here, sweep the arms up. Through heart center. Excellent. We're going to take fingertips to the ground this time on one arm. So pick an arm, pick a side. The other arm's going to go straight up in the air. We take a big deep breath in. And we lean so you can place those fingers down, and you're going to lean over. And so what we don't want to see is shoulders rotating forward. We're going to keep them open. And as you exhale, we're not dumping into that arm. We're kind of lifting tall. So keep the spine tall, side body long, and like you're almost reaching up through the fingertips, like you're trying to almost lift up off the ground, but you're not quite lifting. So not a whole lot of weight here. Use your belly. And let's see if when we squeeze the belly muscles, we can still take that long breath. So inhale nice and deep. Exhale, squeeze it out. Sink into it a little more if you can, staying tall. Inhale again. Reach a little further. Excellent. We'll come back to center. Take that hand to the floor. Other arm up in the air. Big deep breath in. One more time. Big breath in. Reach as far as you can over. And back up to center. Very nice. All right, coming up onto our knees this time. And you can take the knees hip distance apart if you'd like, just for a little bit better stance here. And so we're going to drop both hands down to our sides. And I want you just to kind of focus on which hand you end up going top over bottom. And so all we do is kind of take the arms out wide and sling them across. So notice which one's on top. Take note of that. And then all you're trying to do here is work your fingertips back to grab onto the shoulder blades or shoulders or anything you can grab onto. And we're going to take a big deep breath. Your chest should be a little restricted here, so you may not get as much air in, but take it long and slow. And you're trying to relax the shoulders. So we're not going to round forward, but I want you to feel like you are releasing those shoulder blades to open up just a little bit more. So your action here is almost like you're trying to squeeze the arms a little bit tighter together in order to open up the back. So let's take 2 more big deep breaths here. Nice. Lock those arms, shake them out a little bit. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. And then we're going to take that other arm and fling it across. So open up wide, fling. You can make noises if you want to. Sometimes I'm making noises, sound effects. Grab those shoulder blades. Again, you're trying to get those elbows as far across as you can. So if you're more like here, that's okay. You're just grabbing what you can and starting to work your way with those fingertips, opening up the shoulder blades, kind of rounding through the upper back without hunching over. Okay, that's kind of the only rule here, no hunching. And in order to really keep yourself from hunching, if you want to sit back down, it's almost impossible, not impossible, but it's harder, I guess, to hunch over. So let's keep crisscrossing. If you need to get another running start, you can open it back up, fling it across again, and then work from there. That's just up to you. But let's take those big deep breaths in. No rushing that air. Let's just get in as much as you can. Long, slow exhale. Very nice. And we'll uncross the arms. Let's roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Okay, another scapular opening and also just a shoulder rotating stretch we're going to do here are eagle arms. It's kind of the same thing. So whichever arm you flung across first, like the top arm, let's do that again. We're just going to crisscross at the elbows. So instead of wrapping around your shoulders this time, bring them out in front of you. So you're trying to crisscross as much as you can get across here. And then we're going to take both arms up like you're making an X. And all we're trying to do is get the palms together. So start to reach almost in opposite directions, trying to get your palms together. So sometimes it's actually harder for me to do it that slowly. I can do a little faster if I kind of whip them around. And I want you, even if you're here, you're squeezing your forearms together as tight as you can, using your forearms, and not really using the back muscles at all. So we're trying to open up the back muscles by squeezing the forearms. All right, and so once we get what we feel like is kind of a tight bind here, just notice how it feels on your shoulders. The shoulder that's on top, or the arm that's on top, is probably the one you're gonna feel the most in the back of the shoulder. So just take note of that, and let's take a big deep breath. And as you exhale, we are gonna move and get a little deeper into this. And the way that you do that is exhale, raise the elbows, and point the fingertips up. The head stays the same. Big deep breath in. Exhale, elbows lift. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Big deep breath in. Elbows lift. Now you might get to a point where you're like, okay, my hands are going to come undone if I don't stop. Well, that's where you're going to stop. You're going to hold. If it's uncomfortable, breathe through that discomfort. Try to relax those areas that are uncomfortable. Maybe it's your brain going crazy, and that's fine too. On this last one, as we exhale, we'll just let those arms drop. Very nice. Roll up, back, and down. Everybody doing okay? Deeper stretching, mental stability here. So if it hurts, if it's sore, if it's tight, that's where in that stillness, we're breathing through. So that's part of this Hatha yoga practice, okay? So my right arm is on top. It might look like the left arm, but I'm just going to use opposite. So let's go ahead and crisscross, wrap around. If you didn't quite get that, it's crisscross first. And then my hands are kind of in swords, but I'm going to like serve pizza until I can bring them together here. And again, if your backs of the hands together, that's okay. You're still squeezing. So we're going to notice if we change that tightness now to the other shoulder. Certainly it's on fire for me. So I know we did some shoulder work a couple of days ago. Lift the elbows. Big deep breath in. Keep squeezing forearms, lift the elbows. If it's painful, if it's getting sore in the forearms, it's okay. Open your shoulders up, take a breath, breathe through it. Exhale and lift. If this is your highest point, this is where you're going to breathe in one more time. Exhale, release. Nice work, you guys. Up, back, and down with the shoulders a few times. We good? Everybody good? Okay. We did a whole bunch of opening shoulder blades here. Now we're going to do some leg, hip, hamstring, some of that stuff. So we're laying on our backs. If you brought your towel, belt, strap, anything that you can wrap around the foot and hang on to, that's what you need. A thick blanket isn't going to work as well. So I would encourage you really to use a strap or something smaller. So let's go ahead onto our backs first. I have my buddy today next to me here. Okay. Hi, buddy. You're a sweet girl. All right, and what we're going to do, for me, I have a D ring, so thank you, Kiss. We call her Lick Lick because she likes to kiss us. I'm going to take mine like this, so if you can make a loop. If you have a belt, then you can loop it through like I've done. If not, if you just have a towel or something, For that towel, you're going to stick it on kind of your heel right there at the arch and heel of your foot. And that's where you want to place it. And you can do like this, like one hand on each side. For me, since I have this and I don't want to use both hands the whole time, I just want to use one hand sometimes, you can do it like this. So either way works. But all we're going to do is take whatever you have, place it on your heel, and we're going to push up and kind of pull the toes back toward the heart. Our other leg goes out completely straight. So I know we have not done any warming, and that's what is different about Hatha, is it doesn't require you to get warm beforehand. Other than those deep breaths that we did, they might have gotten you warm. We are just going to stretch within our ability right now and not overstretch. So this is where you really have to know yourself. So if you're like, I can't even lift my leg up, then you might be right here. And that's the great thing about having a strap. You might be way down here. That's totally fine. But what I want you to get is just a little tug, a little light tug in the hamstring when you straighten out that knee. So that's going to be the important part. You want to feel that stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and wrap it around my hand one time so I don't have to really use a whole lot of muscle. I can just kind of relax and just let my arm just kind of be here and pull against my leg. All right, and then we're going to relax the thigh just a bit here. So just a baby bend through the knee. Not a deep bend. That's not going to get us a stretch. In fact, you can play with that. Bend your knee and then straighten it. Get to where you can feel the hamstring pulling. And we're just going to hold here. And so with each exhale, big deep breath in. Exhale, pull it a little bit closer if you can. Inhale, big deep breath. Exhale a little bit closer. Inhale. Exhale a little bit closer. Maybe you walk your hand up a little more. Maybe that's how you pull it closer. So if you don't happen to have anything, you can always use your hands on your calf. Or if you can grab, some people say, grabbing your toe, you can do that too. Grab your toe. You're just going to have to be able to pull your foot in close. I am super tight in my hamstrings, so I love the stretch because you don't have to be able to hold on to your leg. So that helps me out a lot. Some of you guys probably have really nice loose hamstrings. And you're welcome to not have to use a strap. So once you feel like you're kind of in that furthest point, let's hold there. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, it should feel pretty like, okay, I'm really ready to get out of the stretch, but you're going to hold there and just let your mind not escape, but let your mind go, it's okay. I have control over this situation and I don't need to panic and I don't have to get out of it either. So take a big deep breath in. No panicking. Very nice. All right, now slowly we're going to let this leg fall. And I say fall, I mean ease out to the side very, very, very slowly. And what you're checking is to make sure the opposite hip isn't coming up. So you're not going to, I don't know if you can see that, but you're not going to rotate this hip up at all. It needs to stay on the ground. So you should be able to feel kind of the tailbone, see whatever bones you feel on the ground. Whatever bones you feel on the ground while you're here, that's the same amount of bones you're going to feel as you let this leg fall out. So what you might end up doing is taking that elbow to the ground, maybe letting a little off of your strap, not so much that it's way back down here. Let's keep it up high. And we're just letting that leg fall as far out as it can without the opposite hip coming open. So we're keeping that closed down here, open through the inner thigh. So let's take a big deep breath here. Exhale, let it fall a little bit further. Big deep breath in as we exhale, maybe a little further if you can release that glute muscle. Excellent. Now nice and slowly, we're going to bring that leg back to center. And let's reach up and grab with the opposite hand. So if you're doing one hand, if you're doing both, that's fine too. But if you can grab with just one hand, we're going to take it in the opposite hand this time. And so hold on to your strap, your towel, whatever it is you have. And we're going to take a big deep breath in. Now this one is really important to keep this hip on the ground. So all the bones you have on the ground, stay there. This is going to stretch your IT band if you do it just right. So our other hand's going to go to a T position. We're pulling our leg back up where it was when we started, or maybe even a little bit more to stretch that hamstring, get in that tight hamstring position. It's not super comfortable, but we're willing to stay there. Take a big deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to just let that leg barely go across your body. So as you're looking down, all that moves is this, not your back. Okay, nothing moves here at all, okay? So if all you can do is like a millimeter, then that's where you are today. If you're like, okay, I can do a millimeter plus a little, then do a millimeter plus a little. If you can do a centimeter, if you can do 2 inches, whatever that is, as you exhale, you're gonna let that leg continue to fall across the body until you start to feel, uh-oh, I gotta twist in order to go further. That's where you're stopping. Wherever that twist needs to happen, that's where you're stopping. So you're pushing down on that right side or left side, whichever leg you have. So as we get there, then you should feel the tightness through that IT band, maybe behind the knee, because it loops there through these muscles and up into your back. So you might feel it in a bunch of different places. Let's take a big deep breath. As you exhale, see if you can get it to go a little further across without lifting your hip. Inhale. Exhale a little further across without lifting the hip. And it may not. That's okay. We're just relaxing every muscle we can. One more big deep breath here. Try to get as deep across the body as you can without lifting the hip. Awesome. And then finally, we will take that twist all the way over, however far you'd like to take it. And a twist through your spine is fine. And then we will bend that knee just a little bit and take it all the way over. This is, I don't know if you guys have weird dogs like I do, but she growls when she wants to be pet. I don't think she understands, like, I guess that's how she talks. You're funny, Mars. All right, to get out of this, let's bend that knee all the way in, hug it into the chest. Love yourself a little bit. That was nice. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Liquid. Okay, not right now, girlfriend. And we're taking our whatever we have on that foot. That leg goes straight out and down. Okay. And we are taking our strap, belt, rubber band, whatever it is, onto our other foot. So in that same little locked position there. And remember how we did it this time? So I already know that my left leg is always tighter than my right leg. But once you get into that straight leg position, you're going to be like, oh yeah, okay, that's different. That is tight. Maybe even that first little extension that you do is kind of tight, especially compared to where we just left off on this side. So just take kind of a mental note there. We're going to take our strap. If you're holding with both hands, that's totally fine here. And we're going to push with the heel and pull the toes back. So a little activity going on through the quad here and the knee, and that's just to get that lengthening through the hamstring. So take a big deep breath. Exhale, pull it a little bit closer. Inhale again, big deep breath. Exhale a little bit closer. Straighten the knee. Inhale one more time. Exhale to a point that's a little uncomfortable for you. Like, okay, I'm ready to get out of this now. And we're going to hold in that spot. Take a big deep breath. See if you can relax your mind, your body, everything that's telling you, get out, get out, get out. Relax. Power through that with your breath. Awesome. All right, we're going to take this strap or whatever you have into the same arm as your leg. For me, that's left. My right arm goes to a T, and we're slowly letting it fall open to the side. So inhale, exhale, let it fall. Keep that breath going. When you get to what you feel like is probably your furthest point, maybe your elbow can relax on the ground there. I'm about to stick my foot in the light socket. That's not good. And then once you reach what you feel like is your furthest point, we're trying not to lift that hip up off the ground. So if it starts to rotate over, you need to bring it back a little more to center. That's what your strap is for, to help you with that. So even if you have to go opposite arm to hold that leg up, that's totally fine. But we're taking a big deep breath here. Exhale, let it fall open just a little bit more. Is it uncomfortable on your inner thigh? Where is it uncomfortable? Take note of that. Those are the areas where mentally you just go in and say, okay, I've got to relax here. So inhale, big deep breath. Exhale, let it fall. Nice and slowly, we're coming back to center. Get into that position where you have a tight pull on the hamstring, a little bit uncomfortable, but we're holding through that, breathing through it. We're going to switch hands. So opposite hand to your strap. Big deep breath in, all those lower back bones and hip bones on the ground, and we slowly let that leg come across. Exhale, let it go a little further. When you reach what you feel like is your furthest point, then you're using your breath to just work your way into a calm mental state, relaxed physical state, and even though it might feel like this is not doing me any good because it hurts so bad, unless it's an injury, and in that case you need to know when to back off. If it's just tight muscles, they can handle this. This is how they lengthen. So inhale, big deep breath in. Exhale, long and slow. And finally, when you're ready, we'll go ahead and take that twist all the way over. Bend the knee if you want to, or keep it straight, either way. And then hug that knee into the chest as you roll back onto your back. We're unhooking and we're done with the strap. All right, guys, we're coming into pranayama. So pranayama is just that relaxation time where we have a little space between the heels, a little space between the hands here. Fingertips are open and hands are palms facing up. We're just going to relax into this posture. So I want you to get as heavy as you can on the ground. If you need a little extra support with your blanket or pillows, Marzi, no ma'am. Then get whatever support that you need for now. And so what we're doing here is taking this nice long deep breath. And long slow exhale. So in the beginning we did kind of a controlled counting your in-breath and counting your out-breath to try to make them match. So I want you to work to get to that point again. So you're taking that nice long in-breath, 4 or 5 counts. Long, slow, controlled exhale, 4 or 5 counts. And we're not holding breath in between, so we're trying to make this seamless. Big deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. Relaxing the shoulders, moment here just to be grateful for the air that you can breathe. Be grateful that your lungs are functioning. This is great lung function too. So if you happen to have asthma or some kind of breathing deficiency of any kind, then definitely take these practices slowly. But you can get deeper and deeper and better, even more efficient with your breath. And so I encourage you guys to practice this. And as you're laying here, just imagine yourself maybe in a different environment, or maybe something that tends to stress you out. I don't want you to picture yourself in that environment, but if you know what that environment is, then I just want you to imagine how you can breathe in, what it feels like. Imagine that air coming into your body and how it disperses into all of those veins, all the way down into your toes. All that oxygen is reaching the very far extremities of your body to oxygenate every cell. And then as you exhale, it's just the perfect reciprocal of your inhale, because you're getting rid of all of the poisonous gas that we can't inhale or we would die. So we're getting rid of all of that. So amazing. So exhale of that, being grateful that we can get rid of all the poison. It's a choice, and also it's something our body just naturally does. So ridding yourself of poisonous thoughts, even maybe poisonous people or relationships. Now is a great time to be evaluating your relationships. Ridding yourself of the poisonous ones. Keeping those people around you that bring joy and peace into your life. Those that are willing to challenge you in a positive way for betterment. Now we're going to take another big deep breath together. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, maybe windshield wiper your feet here. Bring the feet up. Bend the elbows. And then we're going to roll onto one side. Choose a side. Hang out here in your fetal position. Almost in child's pose. Kind of is. Baby birds. I'll show you guys in a second. Put yourself up. There's a mama bird who builds a nest every year right outside my bedroom window. All right, coming back to your seated position, you guys. Let's take hands out onto the knees, palms facing up. See how you feel. Just going to take a little evaluation in the body. Hope Marcy wasn't too distracting. She's not that great of a yoga partner yet, but she'll get there if we give her some time. We'll sweep the arms out. Big deep breath in. Hopefully you learned something about Hatha yoga today. Exhale through heart center. About breathing, about the control that you have over your own breath. Inhale. Bring hands to heart center. And we are all done. Namaste. You guys want to see my baby birds? It has nothing to do with yoga. Let me show you really quick. Oh, my window.